Hi people, welcome back to my channel. I'm filming this on Saturday, the day before the TikTok ban. If you are watching me for the first time from TikTok to here, welcome. Hopefully this isn't the only place that I'll be, but again, we don't know what's gonna happen on TikTok, so. And for now, I've been really enjoying making longer form content on YouTube, so yeah. This is a video that I've wanted to do for a long time, what I collect. And especially now, so many people are so nostalgic of their childhoods. I'm going to separate the things that I collect into like 3 or 4 different categories. So first, physical media. Second, K-pop. Third, trinkets. And fourth, miscellaneous random stuff. We got a lot to go through, so let's start. In the physical media category, definitely my largest collection is music. Firstly, vinyls. I remember in 2015 I got the Suitcase Crosley record player that is so bad for your records, but I got that at Urban Outfitters alongside Halsey Badlands, Marina and the Diamonds, Fruit. Yeah, that was the beginning of my collection. And during that time I mostly collected thrifted vinyls. I had just started high school, I believe, so there was no big ambitions but to collect a couple albums that I liked at the time. In recent years, I've collected a lot of newer albums or a lot of soundtracks. I love a good soundtrack on vinyl. I have an album for basically any occasion, any vibe. I can just look through and put something on, and yeah, I love my vinyl collection. Lately, I haven't been growing my collection too much, but when I have, I've really enjoyed getting international music. For example, I've been collecting a lot of Japanese music. It's a bit harder to collect those things because the import cost makes the price so much more expensive. Slowly, I'm adding to it, and hopefully one day I have music from all over the world. My CD collection truly started when I was a fan of One Direction. I would get the CDs and the albums every time they came out for the 5 years that they existed as a band. And alongside them in that era, I listened to Ed Sheeran, Five Sauce, Little Mix, you know. If you were there, you know. Like, between that time period and now, I collected some CDs of like post One Direction. I collected some Halsey, Rex Orange County, just little CDs here and there. But I haven't really upped my collection until the past year or so. Yeah, my collection is such a wide variety, from stuff when I was younger, stuff that I like now, K-pop, Japanese music, soundtracks. My biggest goal is to have enough music of my own personal library that I don't really have to stream stuff. Since the new year, I've been trying to listen to my personal music more than streaming, and honestly, it's been so nice because I can wake up in the morning and know what I want to listen to. It's very purposeful and intentional. As much as I love curation from Spotify, I've noticed that I became a lot more passive in what I listen to, and I wasn't really sitting there appreciating it as much as I used to. I love a good playlist, but even more than that, I love an album that I can listen to top to bottom and just enjoy the whole piece of work. Shifting gears into like physical books and stories, I really enjoy manga. I wish that I could collect more of it, but it does take so much physical space that it's a bit hard to. So as of right now, my biggest manga collection that I keep up with is Jujutsu Kaisen. I have all of the volumes except a few. When I was younger, I would just read manga from the library. So one day I hope to have a collection of Death Note. That was one of my first mangas that I read as a child and one of my favorite animes ever. And I do collect a couple shoujo mangas, but it's hard to keep up with those, like I said, just because of space and money. And the two that I've been trying to grow more is Skip and Loafer and Horimiya. I love those two so much, and I've been really enjoying reading the manga. So hopefully one day I can be a bit more caught up on those. And lastly, in the physical media section, I collect movie tickets. As of right now, it's a bit impractical for me to collect DVDs and more like actual physical movies and TV shows, but I do love a good movie, and every time I go, I make sure to go to the little kiosk and print my ticket so that I can put it in my little binder. I've been doing this since 2023, so not that long, but I really enjoyed looking at all of the movies that I've seen, and it makes the act of going to a movie theater even more precious and fun. Okay, next category is so much fun. I love this category. First of all, the obvious thing is K-pop albums. I do collect them, but the way that I collect them has changed a lot. During COVID lockdown, I remember I opened up Spotify and I saw a playlist of the newest K-pop music, and I told my friend who is a K-pop stan, I was like, how do you get into K-pop? I was like, how do you do it? And they were like, oh, well, what kind of music are you into? And I showed them the little blue album cover, and it was the song Blue Hour by Tomorrow by Together, and I showed it to them, and they were like, oh, I like that group, just recommending other things similar to it. And since then, obviously become such a big fan of K-pop and a big collector of the music. From 2020 to 2022 or so, I was deeply heavily collecting albums, and it was really fun back then. Very unsustainable now, in terms of space and money and everything. I mainly focused on TXT, BTS, but now I don't even have a bookshelf for my albums. Like, I have a few albums on display in my room, but most of them are in storage, which is really sad, but at the same time, I really do like purposefully putting albums in certain places as room decor, and I love to use albums as journaling supplies, so even the ones that I have in storage will one day have its use in my journal. So now when it comes to albums, I mostly get TXT albums or Twice albums, mostly girl group albums. But my biggest goal for my K-pop collection is to get more old gen CDs. I have one Girls' Generation album, and I love that album a lot, and it would be so fun to get more of those. And lastly, we have photo cards. My collecting journey with photo cards is very similar to the way that I collected albums. I got really into it in 2020 and collected so many different things. But now the way that I collect is very minimal, very selective. I used to be a completionist, that's just crazy to me. I appreciate those who can do that, but it's just a lot. Basically collected a lot of BTS and a lot of TXT, but now I selectively collect Subin and Taehyun, the Seraphim, and random girl group members. My biggest goal with collecting photo cards is to have a use for all of them, or to make my collection look very unique. My biggest example of this is with my TXT collection. I just started doing this, but I really want to use my binder that I got from the last tour, and I want to make little spreads of each era using a photo card plus the contents of the album. I made one for the Savior version of the latest album, and I made a spread for Yeonjun's Gum album as well, which I love the way I made this. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to use a bit more deco stuff in my collections to make them a bit more unique. Our third category is trinkets. It is a very broad term, and for myself, I would consider this being like figurines or keychains, tiny little guys. So yeah, honestly, my room is just a museum of my personal trinkets that I've collected throughout the years. Most of them these days are Sanrio, anime, K-pop. I used to have a lot bigger of a Sunny Angel collection, but I kind of toned it down a bit I realized that trying to complete a singular type of trinket makes it less fun for me. So yeah, it's kind of a variety, but I really like it that way. And that's probably how I'll continue to collect my little trinkets. And the final category is miscellaneous random things. I only have a couple items in this category. To begin is Pokemon/Pokemon trading cards. When it comes to all of these niche little things and shows and music that I enjoy, it all really started with Pokemon. I think Pokemon is probably my first, like, hyperfixation. I remember my first Pokemon game. It was 2006, 2005. I was in the Philippines and I had my little Game Boy Advance, and my mom had bought a bootleg copy of Pokemon Ruby, and I played it the entire time that we were there. And I didn't know that it was a bootleg until many years later. But since then, I played every single game when it came out, and I would finish it in like a day. Unfortunately, I'm not that into the games as much anymore, but it is something that I've enjoyed since I was a child. And since then, my collection has mostly consisted of little plushies here and there, a little figurine. 2 summers ago, I finally taught myself how to play the trading card game, which you would think that I would have learned it many years ago, but no, I never did. So in that summer, I started buying more Pokemon cards, not just for the visual of it, but also to use as a deck and to play against people with. So I just have like a lot of Pokemon cards. There's not really a certain thing that I'm collecting, though one day I wish to collect all of Sylveon's cards, because Sylveon is one of my favorite Pokemon, and ever since that Pokemon got introduced, I thought it was the cutest thing ever. Yeah, I would also love to have a lot more Charizard and Dragonite Pokemon cards. Those two are also my favorites, more OG Pokemon. But yeah, I haven't played the trading card in a while, so I mostly appreciated the cards again for the art and how they look. I love them. I love Pokemon so much. But yeah, so that was all the stuff that I collect. It might be a lot, but to me, I love it. They all have different stories to tell of my life, and I just love so many different things and content and stuff like that. So one of my favorite ways to show my appreciation for those things is to collect stuff from it. Yeah, let me know if you have any collections of yours that are similar to mine, or any of your favorite items from your collection. Let me know. Yeah, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.